Hello, and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Panic in Hollywood. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, and follow us. Also, to let you know that we're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up. So I encourage you to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about Hollywood is Calling. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities. A live 15-second call is $19.95 and a live 30-second call is $29.95. Buy it for yourself or as a gift for somebody you know. Check it out. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. There is a huge panic going on in Hollywood right now, and it's taking place on a number of levels. It's happening in the studio boardrooms. It's happening on the studio floors and in the production offices. It's happening amongst the movie theater companies that used to display the movies. It's happening at the local and state governments that are now realizing that they may have permanently killed or driven off an entire industry that used to generate billions of dollars in taxes for them. It's happening in the faces of all the people who used to think that they had a career future in the entertainment industry, but are now coming to realize that that may no longer be the case. It's happening at the banks that used to lend great sums of money to the studios, but are now coming to realize that as clients, the studios may no longer have much of a future. So let's get to the specifics. First, you have the major and minor movie theater chains that are basically sitting empty now. They're little ghost towns. First they waited patiently because they thought the pandemic would end and the crowds would return. But that's not happening. Not only are the crowds staying away, but the studios are now debuting their movies on streaming services on the same day that they're debuting them in the movie theaters. This is basically telling the movie theater chains that the studios no longer believe in their ability to make money and that they feel that streaming is going to be the future. Next, we have the panic in the studio boardrooms and the executive suites. It used to be that if you're responsible for putting out a bad movie or a TV show, then you would be fired and sent packing. Those days are now looked at as the good old days because now studios are hemorrhaging more money than ever. But now they're losing money for reasons that have nothing to do with the quality of the movies. But rather it's because of the pandemic that executives are being blamed and fired. On some level, it's not their fault, and on other levels, it is, because Hollywood and the entertainment industry are supposed to be very innovative and creative, and yet they're revealing themselves to be the complete opposite of that. Why? Because they seem unable to come up with an innovative solution to their current dilemmas. That means that if a solution is to be created, it will probably not be created by Hollywood, but rather by Silicon Valley or by some foreign company. The tech industry is now working on a number of solutions that may or may not help the studios, but you also have to remember that whatever solution they do develop may also end up competing with the studios for their entertainment dollars. It's also very likely that given how closed-minded, scared, stupid, and reluctant to change Hollywood has been in the past, it may be that when they are offered a technical solution or innovation by Silicon Valley, they may simply reject it out of fear or ignorance or incompetence or all the above. This is the catastrophic mistake that Hollywood made with the gaming industry and with Netflix in the past. Years ago, when the gaming industry and Netflix were just starting out, the studios had plenty of opportunities to purchase gaming companies when they were small and affordable, but chose not to for all the reasons I just described above. So what happened? Well, the computer gaming industry exploded and became much larger and more profitable than the movie or TV business. And now they couldn't afford to buy them, even if these gaming companies wanted to sell themselves, which they do not. The same thing goes for Netflix. When Netflix was starting out, the studios could have easily purchased them just as an insurance policy, just in case, but they didn't. What's even funnier and more ironic is that even if the Hollywood studios reversed things and tried to sell themselves to the gaming companies now, no one would buy them or want them. The movie studios are now seen as dinosaurs that are on their deathbeds, and nobody wants to buy a corpse or soon to be corpse. Do you know who else is panicking? Some of the streaming companies are panicking. Why? It's because until now, the risk and burden of producing many TV shows and movies was borne primarily on the shoulders of the movie studios and the TV networks. But some streaming services, which produce a few movies here and there, a few TV shows occasionally, now now those streaming services face greater and greater challenges because they're being confronted by the possibility that if the studios no longer are able to produce as many movies as they used to, then the streaming services may have to front all the money to produce the content that the studios used to create. There's also a much bigger problem, and that is that the state and local governments of California, these nitwits are now realizing um, that one of the many reasons so many people moved to California or vacationed here in the first place was because of the Hollywood dream. Whether people will publicly admit it or not, many of them secretly love the show business industry and often fantasize about getting a job in it or getting discovered by it. But now, not only is this industry dead, but you no longer need the movie studios or TV networks to get discovered or to get famous or to make money. Now you can create your own channel on YouTube or social media and put out content on a regular basis. And if the audiences like what they see, then you can get well known and you can make even more money without signing a slave contract to a studio or an agent that will just end up taking the lion's share of the cash, anyways. So, what about studio executives? Many of them are being quietly let go, or they're leaving the industry trying to redefine their lives and their careers with a new path. Some are trying to go into tech. Some are trying to open their own businesses. Some are joining forces with their friends and trying to create startups or innovative companies of their own. Some of them will succeed, but many of them will not because recent events have rendered many of their skill sets inconsequential or irrelevant. So, what about all these celebrities out there who can't find work all of a sudden? They say that your fame diminishes by 25% a year for every 12 months that you go by without appearing in a movie or a TV show. Stay off the air or out of the movies for 5 years or longer. And they say that 90% of the public won't even remember who you are or what you appeared in. The really smart and industrious celebrities are starting their own products now and creating content on a regular basis just to keep themselves in the eye and the minds of the fans and potential sponsors. That's really smart because they are taking the initiative and being industrious in their approach to controlling and directing their own fate by trying different avenues. The others that are too proud or not ambitious enough to start a podcast or some other business venture of their own, they're just going to see their careers fade even faster into obscurity. Don't be surprised if you walk into a 7-Eleven or a Home Depot or a gas station someday in the future and you see a former TV star working the counter, um, because that is becoming increasingly likely. I suspect that as home television screens get larger and cheaper, every year more people will watch their movies at home. I also suspect that when this health crisis is over, that a small percentage of people will start going back to the movie theaters, but the majority of them will not. There are multiple reasons for that. First, the movie theater ticket and concession prices are insultingly crazy. $20 for a movie ticket, $10 for a little carton of popcorn. What about the cost of a babysitter or a parking spot or the aggravation of fighting traffic to get out of the movie theater? All of that is going to weigh heavily against them. In our opinion, it wasn't just the health crisis that killed the movie studios, it was the off the charts greed, closed mindedness, arrogance, drug addiction of many of the celebrities and executives, and the overall stupidity of most of the people in that industry. I want to thank our viewers for watching and tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews coming up, and we'll have more breaking news stories in the future. So we want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and follow us, and also click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. See you soon, and bye-bye.